If you are a woman living her best hot mess express life while simultaneously crushing it, and you're craving more clarity, purpose, and excellence, get ready because you're in the right spot. I am your host, Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, and I want to welcome you to Season 2 of All Things Excellence, the podcast, where I'll be bringing you all the inspiration and insights your excellence-seeking heart desires. This season, I'm stepping back into chasing big, bold, and absolutely terrifying goals, sharing every honest step and misstep along the way. We're continuing our beloved Unscripted series, featuring live clarity coaching sessions with guests just like you, and diving deep into raw behind-the-scenes stories of powerhouse women founders I am wildly obsessed with, whose journeys will fuel your own. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Happy New Year, All Things Excellence fam. I'm so excited to talk to you today. I hope y'all know New Year's is my favorite day of the entire year, and that's because I love nothing more than the chance to have new beginnings. And I feel like New Year's makes us really stop and slow down and start getting a little bit more intentional, especially after we've been flying through the holidays, going to every single party that maybe we want to go to, maybe we feel like we've got to go to. We just lived a life of extreme obligation all fall, and now we get to take a breath and come back to realize, what do we really want most? And that's what I want to talk to y'all about today. Y'all know on last week's episode, I talked to y'all about the process, about how I figure out what do I want most in life in this new year. And y'all walked with Kobe and I through what we do individually and then as a marriage, figuring out for us individually and as a couple, what do we want most out of life this next year and these next 3 years. And after I figure out what I want most in life, how I want my life to feel, what I want my life to look like, that's when I get into my business. I don't start with my business and then figure out how to fit my life around it. I start with my life and then I figure out within that construct, what do I want to build with my business? Because my top priority is to be able to stay in alignment with myself, what matters most, and keep my life and my business in alignment, that they're supporting each other, not fighting each other. That the goals that I have in my business and what I'm telling myself I've got to do, the schedule that I've got to live in order to make those things happen, I don't want that to be grinding against what matters most to me in life, where I'm going to wake up 10 years from now and regret that I did that, and then have guilt that I poured all of that energy into my business and none into my friends, into my family, and just to who I was being in general. So in October, I found myself not loving a lot of things that I was doing. And so because of that, I was feeling, I can look back now and I can go, there was just grinding. Like there was shifting and changing, and I'd been doing a lot of brain spotting sessions, which means who I was, my identity in my brain, my identity in my body was really shifting. It was unpacking. I had told a friend recently that one of my favorite stories is about how, Michelangelo always says that he chiseled away everything that wasn't David, and the statue of David emerged. And I felt like for me, from 30 to 40, that decade, there was a lot going on where I was in burnout. I'd been in a deep helper relationship with someone with extreme narcissistic personality disorder, with a covert kind where you don't really actually know that it's happening to you. And that after living 0 to 30, an extreme leadership position. Like I would say, there's always this thing, people go back and forth about, are leaders born or made? And growing up, I always said, well, they had to be born, because I knew that I came out of the womb a leader. Now, do I think that a lot of people are made into leaders? Absolutely. Like I think watching my husband evolve and become a leader in his own right has been phenomenal. Now, I don't know, maybe he was born a leader and his circumstances kind of dimmed that down. And what I can tell you, living my life from 0 to 30 in every leadership position that my whole existence fell into, and then from 30 to 40, really taking on that identity and that role as a helper, it causes me to wonder if every single person is really born with incredible leadership abilities, but life can happen so early on, we don't even know that we have them. Now, I was raised with two parents that, I mean, y'all, I was born 15 days late. Like, they knew before I was born that I was in control of my life and I was going to do what I wanted to do before I even, before anybody else was going to tell me that they thought I should do it. And my parents knew that before I was born because they were like, this girl, like she's 2 weeks late because she's just like, I'm not ready to come yet and I'll let you know when I am. And the first day home from the hospital, like I started doing this screaming thing and turning blue if they didn't get to me quick enough. So, they knew from day one they had a daughter that was, eldest daughter, right? Super driven, like to be a little bit on the control side and wanted what she wanted when she wanted it right now. And so finding myself not loving some things, I knew that it was because I'd been working so diligently, actively with the coaches and the therapists to rip off everything that wasn't me that had really gotten thrown on me over the last 10 years. And that caused this huge new identity shift. Now, one thing that I did with this new coach that I hired in the beginning of November was I took a habit finder assessment. And in that assessment, it identifies what habitual thoughts are you having that are dictating how your life is flowing. And there were a couple different ones that we looked at immediately. We'll keep doing this. We're doing this over a 6-month period. We'll be going to be looking at this assessment. And it identified where I'd really taken a back seat, started viewing myself not as someone in a leadership position, but someone who needed to be a more subdued, quieter, back seat, behind the scenes, helper role kind of person. And when we identified that, we identified why those things were happening. It really came in sync with stuff that was coming out of my brain spotting. And we uncovered this place where I allowed my best self to reemerge. But honestly, it happened so quickly. It pretty much happened over a 3-day period, like a 72-hour period where the brain spotting appointments had already happened. The coaching appointment happened. There was some conversation after the coaching appointment between her and I, voice texting back and forth. And really quickly, I mean, this is where I want you to realize when you get put in situations and the world gets thrown on top of you and you lose hold of the best pieces of yourself, it doesn't have to take a million years for you to get that back. It can happen all of a sudden, right? For such a time as this, like when God calls you, it'll happen overnight. And that's truly what happened to me, is that one day I just woke up and started seeing myself the way that I'd always seen myself from 0 to 30 before I hit that burnout, before I had kind of like a boss type of person constantly on me every single day, telling me all the ways that I was broken and all the ways that I needed to be less and all the reasons that I was always too much. And then to have my coach, who has known me for a really long time, say, I've never thought that. I've traveled with you. I know you. This isn't how I experience you. Rapid change happened for me. And so with that, I started seeing what I wanted to do in my business evolve in the direction that I wanted to take my business. So for 15 years, my job had been to coach women in sales and leadership and vision. I would bring women into my organization who just wanted to make a little bit of extra money or maybe a lot of money, but the majority of them were in that life position where, they always, Mary Kay Ash always said there are 3 types of women. Women who have a big dream and they know what they want in life and they're going after it. Women who had a dream and then got discouraged or the world happened and they laid it down. And then women who didn't even know they were supposed to have a dream. Now, for the most part, I dealt with the women who really didn't know they were supposed to have a dream because I was working with women in small towns all over America before the age of, TikTok and Instagram, where all of these reels are telling us that you need to believe in yourself and that you deserve more. And so I was really dealing with that. Didn't even know I was supposed to be growing and having a vision and loving my life kind of woman, and helping her, seeing these people and unlocking this within them and then guiding them into those first stages of growth. And for 15 years, I loved it so much. But post burnout in 2019, I really started evolving. That's when I really started my own company and I was helping with retreat logistics here and there. Every now and then I would take on a coaching client. I'd gotten really deep into the Enneagram. So I was helping coach a few individuals here and there. I have a friend, Nicole. She was one of the first people that she really kind of forced me into coaching. We met through my direct sales business, and she would come over all the time and we would talk about Enneagram, and we'd go to coffee and we'd talk about Enneagram, and we were in Bible study together and we talk about Enneagram. And then she asked me if I would do some coaching with her son who had just graduated. And I said, well, I'll meet him for coffee a few times. And so we did that. But she was that first person that didn't want to be a part of my direct sales team and grow in that way, but really wanted me to take someone in her family and help them grow and evolve and kind of find their journey in life. And the way that she did it and her insistence back in 2019, it was like this beautiful evolution between her and God, really getting me to see that I had this deep heart to serve people outside of my current organization and that current team that I was building of hundreds of women, that other people deserve to grow, and that not did they deserve it, but that I desperately also wanted to help those people. And so within that, doing some events, helping run logistics for events, for giant events and giant retreats and traveling all over the country, doing that, I started realizing that just growing within one organization was no longer going to be enough for me, and allowing that to evolve from 2019 to 2025. And I always did it very under the radar. I never wanted to give anything else up. I never wanted people to question where my loyalty was, because I don't care what people think, but when what people think dictates your income, sometimes you got to make people care. Sometimes you got to care about what people think and make yourself care about what people think. And so after 15 years of working with more intro and new to growth women, as of 2026, we're officially evolving my brand to guiding women in leadership and business to lead with clarity, self-trust, and joy. So everything we do, we call it the CDBC ecosystem, Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert ecosystem, will all be about guiding women who are already in leadership and business, already growing, already on fire for growth, already have a dream and a vision. Maybe it's not clear, but we're going to help them get clear. And we're going to help them lead with clarity, self-trust, and joy. And so to do this, y'all, one of the biggest things that this came from was that I started this shift with realizing at the end of 2025 that I didn't have enough intention in my year. It was an extreme trial and error phase, which is great. My mentor, Chris Parker, always says those are high tuition years where you're paying a lot in, right? High tuition, and not a lot is coming out. And that's what 2025 was. I'm so grateful for it. I couldn't be here without it. But I started the evolution of this. I guide women in leadership and business to lead with clarity, self-trust, and joy. This evolution started when I asked myself a question. I wrote it down and it said, how will it feel to work 9 to 3, 4 days a week? How will it feel to work 9 to 3, 4 days a week? Because when I realized the number one thing about my life that I wanted to change was that I wanted more ease, more flow, less rush, not less hustle. Y'all know I love the hustle, but like intentional hustle, not running all over the place, nonstop hustle. What needed to change so I could have more intention in 2026, so I could spend more time with my niece and nephews? So if God decides to give us kids, that we have space for that in our life, because we do not have space in 2025. And people are like, you will make space. There was no space to be made. There wasn't space to make kids in 2025. So I had to ask myself what needed to change. And the biggest thing that needed to change was boundaries around the hours that I was working. So asking myself, how will it feel when I only work in my office from 9 to 3, 4 days a week? What will that look like? How will that feel? What's coming up And will I allow myself to even do that? Do I believe that I can hit the income goals that will give us the life that we want by only showing up in my office from 9 to 3, 4 days a week? So many questions started coming out from that. So much journaling happened over a few weeks as I was asking myself that question. I was bringing that question to so many clients that I'm working with, asking like, what would it be like if you did that? Do you even believe that that's possible? What does that look like? So then we had to back up and we had to look at our ecosystem and go, does our ecosystem support me only being in the office, sitting in my office from 9 to 3, 4 days a week? Or does my current ecosystem demand that it's always me, always on, all the time? So the first thing that we looked at, we pulled everything off the table. Absolutely every offer, everything we do, we yanked it off the table. Like, whoosh, yo, I basically like took my hand and swept it across the desk and threw it all off. The first thing I looked at was this podcast. And I said, what am I loving and what am I hating? What do I want to start, stop, continue, enhance? Do I even want to do it at all? And what I realized was I am so grateful that I did this podcast 2 episodes a week all year long, that we are getting ready to close 100 episodes in a year. Exactly in a year's time from when we launched the podcast, we're going to do 100 episodes. I can't even believe it. The guests that we've had, the conversations that we've had, the growth that we've done together. I'm so grateful I did, because once I hit 50 episodes on the podcast, that's when everyone started seeing me as legit. I started getting emails all the time asking for guests to be on my podcast. It caused me to realize, like, you've got to do the grind. Like, you've got to have great content, great episodes, but you need to show the world, I'm not just giving this a try. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm committed. I'm doing this. And so now that we're going to be hitting that 100 episodes on January 21st, once we hit that, we are going to be going to once a week. The podcast is taking a hard pivot on being intentional. And it is going to be the All Things Excellence podcast for women in leadership and business who care deeply about how they build their life, not just what they're building. Every episode is going to explore leadership, identity, money, boundaries, discernment, and creating sustainable success. Some episodes are going to be me solo. My friend Robin is coming along for season 3, where every single month we're going to have an episode about what we're seeing in our coaching sessions with leadership and business and trends in our life, and where we're growing and what we're doing and how we're evolving and who we're working with. Other episodes are going to spotlight women, ideas, and tools that I'm genuinely obsessed with. Y'all know I am the girl's girl of all the girls, and my biggest life obsession is being able to scream from the rooftops about women, ideas, tools, things that I'm absolutely obsessed with. It's going to be the podcast for women, all about women, of course, with the occasional visit from Kobe when we talk about marriage. We're going to have new episodes dropping every single Wednesday. And there are going to be 2 series that drop on Friday in April, May, and June. The first one is going to be Enneagram in Business, how we show up at work. We're going to feature an Enneagram type, each one of the Enneagram types like we always have, but it's going to be 100% geared how each of those Enneagram types show up in business and work, and how it affects their work, and how to stay healthy, the warning signs, what they need to be looking for when they're functioning at their best and when they're functioning at their worst, and what that looks like. The second series that we're going to do in June, we're going to do a Money is a Mirror series, because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, whether you work for a corporation, you lead women in a corporation, or you own a business and you lead women there, whatever you do, leadership, business, entrepreneurship, money is a mirror to you. Your internal money worth dictates everything. It dictates the jobs that you allow yourself to have. It dictates if you're, fighting for your salary. One of my coaching clients, she is a career coach. And we have these conversations a lot because she helps she is a coach to help other people negotiate their incentive packages when they're taking their job. And so we have a lot of conversations around your relationship with money dictates how much you allow yourself to negotiate that entire package, from vacation to benefits to pay to everything. And so I want to do a series in June that money is a mirror and how your internal worth is dictating everything that you're doing. Whether you're a business owner or you are just working in business, in leadership, leading tons of people, not just, y'all, it is a big thing. Real quick, before we dive back in, I want to share something I created for the women who are growing, but still kind of feel like they're doing it alone. If that statement just hit, then this is for you. I've never felt so aligned and so alone. It's the message I kept hearing as more and more women were falling in love with their life doing what they were born to do. They were craving that like-minded, iron sharpening iron relationship with other women who were as focused, powerful, and determined to be positive as they were. And that is why I created the Growth Collective. It's our All Things Excellence book club community where you don't have to read the book because audio and PDF Cliff Notes are provided for you. There's a community for you to connect and network with other growth-minded women, plus 2 monthly Zooms where you receive connection and live coaching from me. Head on over to chelseadbc.com/book club to join us. All right, let's get back into it, because what you're hearing today is exactly why spaces like the Growth Collective exist. We were never meant to grow alone. Next on the book club. The book club is going to be a place where women in leadership and business think clearly, feel supported, stay connected to growth, and they know that they belong. The question that I had for myself with the book club, where we were going to grow this ecosystem to me only working 30 hours a week in the office, like head down, working intentionally, but still hitting our revenue goal to allow us to live the life that we want to live and support the employees that I want to support, was how can I grow the book club to 500 members and still keep what we have? Because what we have is this beautiful, intentional community. And also, what do I offer the other women that don't want community, but they just want information? So how do you grow it to 500 and keep what we have? Well, one thing is you have to offer stuff to the people that they don't want community. They want info. They want the distillation of information. And so I had to ask myself, when I had a team of hundreds of women in direct sales, but yet only 10 to 20 would really always show up to all the things, to the meetings, the events, everything. What was that? And reminding myself that the cream always rises. It doesn't matter whether you're doing coaching, retreats, events, whatever. The cream will always rise. So creating this book club ecosystem that allows women to just dip in for the distillation of information. So the book club is going to evolve where every single book, I will be turning out my top 10 takeaways from the book and a top 10 video takeaway. So there will be hundreds of women. They'll never get on a single Zoom. They will never watch a single replay, but they might only just print out my top 10 takeaways from a book and read the synopsis of the book. Or maybe they'll watch my 10-minute video where I'm doing a synopsis of a book. That might be the only thing that you ever use the book club for, and I want it to be enough. I want that to be worth the $17 a month, that it's saving you time. You might never buy the book, but that's how you're receiving the book, is from me distilling that information to you and saying, if you're not going to read the book, these are the top 10 things that you need to know that it said and how it shifted me. And so that's where we shifted the book club. Also, we're making it exclusive, where retreats and events, the invites to those that we're running, only go to people who are members of the book club. You have to be actively involved in growing in order to receive those invites. Next, of course, we're going to be doing Enneagram. We're going to keep the Enneagram. I'll keep typing sessions and workshops. I have a workshop coming January 28th. It's going to be a 90-minute lunchtime workshop at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm going to really do a big emphasis on Enneagram for teams, helping businesses thrive, helping them create this ecosystem where their people are knowing each other better. Their employees are increasing their communication skills. And I think the Enneagram is incredible for that because it gives us a language. The 2 coaching offers that I will be having, in addition to retreats and events, which receive exclusive invites only if you're in the book club, will be single sessions for clarity sessions. Okay, I'll be doing one-on-one clarity sessions that you can just single session. And the thing that I am the most excited about, we are creating what is called the leadership room. It is a one-on-one appointment only, but basically you can choose 3 months or 6 months. And it's this container where It's for the women that really want that proximity, reflection, and steady perspective. We will do a once a month, 1 hour coaching call, you and me, where we will have some stretch goals established, just 3 areas of focus for your life right now. It might be in life, it might be in business, it might be a little bit of both, but then I'm going to be there along the way for additional conversation via text and voice message through the month. So think of the leadership room as this one-on-one journey that you and I take so you don't feel like you're doing business and leadership alone. That I'm there with you for all the conversations along the way. It might be, can you look at my sales page copy? It might be, I've got someone at work that I'm in a leadership position with and I'm having a challenge with them. Can we talk through it? But also having that monthly coaching session where we're just checking in to see that everything in your life is in alignment and that you're loving your life and that you're living a life of clarity and self-trust and joy. Now, I'm sharing all of this with y'all on this episode today because, first of all, y'all are my people, right? You're literally why I do what I do. You're why I wake up in the morning, and usually why I wake up in the middle of the night with extreme, incredible thoughts, and I have to like jump up, and I keep a piece of paper and a notepad by my bed, and I will start writing in the middle of the night because I feel like God has the best conversations with me around, between that 2 to 4 a.m. period, because he knows I'm actually sleeping deeply and listening. And so I swear that's where he's having this subconscious conversation with me. But I always want to be 110% honest with what I'm up to and how I can come alongside you and help you most. I also really hope that this gives you permission to let yourself grow and evolve. And that you can wake up one day and just go, I need more. Like what I'm doing is no longer enough. I want to do a different thing and I want to work with different people. And to go after it, even if you're not even sure how to do it. Do y'all think I know how to grow a book club to 500 people? No. Now, have I grown a community to a few hundred people? Yes, but those people they had a specific purpose. They were like, we want to make money. So now I guess I have this specific purpose of I'm already in leadership and I want to grow. But do I know how to grow it to 500? I don't, but I'm absolutely going to figure it out. And I know that I'll figure it out along the way. And most importantly, I hope this episode gives you permission to hire the therapist, the coach, the whoever in the world you need to hire, because you need to be doing the active work with someone. So you'll allow yourself to do what you want to do with the very best frequency. I think there's a lot of y'all out there who have big goals and big dreams, and you keep going, well, next month when my revenue is really high, then I'm going to hire the therapist. Then I'm going to hire the coach. That is not how it works. It is not about doing more. It is about being more. My own coach said that to me months ago. We had this conversation. I said, well, how did you build this level of a thriving coaching? Like, what did you do? And she said, I did nothing, but I absolutely worked on myself to be something very different. And you cannot do your way into more business, but you can be your way into more business. And that's how you'll get there without burnout, but feeling in alignment and rested, like you didn't miss out on your family. So I want to thank y'all for growing and evolving with me over 95 episodes this year. 95 episodes. Here we are. We will continue doing this twice a week until we hit 100 episodes on January 21st. And I'll take a little baby break and we will launch season 3, which is all about women in leadership and business who care about how they build, not just what they're building, where we'll be talking leadership, identity, money, boundaries, discernment, and sustainable success. One of my most important things, is this sustainable? Can I do this forever? Can I keep doing this? Can I thrive and do this? Will my family thrive with me doing this and working like this? That will launch season 3 of our podcast on February 4th. Thank you all for listening. Please run to Instagram. Let me know your thoughts, all the things. If you've listened to this and you realize you're out of alignment, you need to find more clarity in business, you're thinking you need a little bit of shift, you can find me for a single clarity session, or you can be one of the very first people to enter our leadership room and we can get in that one-on-one relationship where you and I are touching base once a month, seeing where you're going with your life and your business. But I'm also there right with you on the way all month long to be able to navigate the small and the big things that happen in between. So can't wait for you to be in the book club. Can't wait for you to be in the leadership room. Can't wait to grow with you in 2026. Thank you all for listening all year long, all 95 episodes. And I will talk to y'all next time. Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you. And my intro clarity call is a great place to start, because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.